All right, and we're back with another episode of Unfiltered Wellness. I am Gabriel Jacobo, my co-host Austin Main right here, and we have a guest today, Seth Humphrey. Seth, welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. Austin and I have been planning this. We planned this a little over almost 2 weeks ago, right? Getting everything scheduled, and as soon as Austin told me about it, he was just like fired up and ready to go. He was like, "I can't wait to get Seth on the podcast."
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no, I
it's
appreciate that.
just we've come like some of people was talking to lately. It's just I got to thinking. I was like, man, this is like Seth has the resources when it comes like what I wish I'd have had. Even then, it's like, why don't we have Seth come talk about this? I was
Yeah.
telling Gabe about the game. Like you
Yeah.
gamify it, and I think that's
Everything.
such a good tool for anybody who's like, I like dopamine. I do. Like we
Yeah.
all do. And I think having those little tangible targets and understanding how to put some of those pieces in place for yourself is really huge, especially for a lot of the guys that we're looking at, that are, young 20s. It's kind of
Yeah.
starting out their careers, getting into stuff. I'm like, it would be better to come in and give some advice on this than Seth himself. So I appreciate you coming in today and spending some time with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you inviting me for sure. So
yeah.
absolutely.
Well, introduce yourself. What do you do? Kind of your background and how you got into everything.
Yeah, so I'm a coach. I've done it for 20 years now. I own a business called the Vitality Mill. It's a 10,000 square foot building. We coach individuals over 40 that are beginners or never worked out before, have injuries, limitations. We do semi-private training. It's kind of a drop-in schedule. They drop in whenever they want to, and then we have a couple coaches on staff that guide them and point them in the right direction. Also have a Stretch U inside of the Vitality Mill as well. So we help individuals get to the root of any kind of pain and issues that they have. And then I have my men's coaching, which is called the Gorilla Alliance. Yeah, so I'm a big believer that you need that God's given us dominion over every area of your life. And so what I help guys do is tap into their identity and become the man that God created them to be. So
Absolutely. I love it. Right off the bat, you talked about people over 40. Why that? And is there something that led you to there, or
yeah,
what's the why?
So my father was he was great in business. Like he was the best in business, and everybody looked at him as the guy in his industry. But when it was all the other areas, like his body, his relationship with God, his relationships, like my dad didn't go to my ball games and things. I got work and business and provide is what his main focus was. And so he's a heart failure patient, and he would have heart attacks, and then he'd cut salt for a little bit, go for walks, and then it would be right back to his old routine and how he just lived life. And so I had to be the guy in 2016 that was the guy that told him there's nothing more the doctors could do. And he died of heart failure. And for me, that was like it was like a wake up call for myself, but also what I wanted to provide. So I went to hustle mode. I was one-on-one personal training is what we did from 2006 to 2000, into 2016. I lost my dad July 22nd of 2016. And then to take my mind off of it, I knew my franchise contract was ending at the end of 2016. And so I bought a 10,000 square foot building. So I got tired of paying rent. I bought a 10,000 square foot building and housed all my business inside that. And man, when everybody goes this way, I go the opposite direction. So most coaches are like, they want to coach everybody, right? They want to coach everybody. And I'm like, okay, well, I'd rather just fish out of a pond that's a little bit different and that's housed with individuals that have money to be able to provide, but also to help individuals that are over 40 and just simplify it. We make things way more difficult than it has to be.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to provide something that's simplified and points them in the right direction and gives them everything that they need, not necessarily what they want, but yeah, just that's the main reason was my father. And it's the main reason why I started the Grill Alliance as well. So,
Absolutely.
That's
How
awesome.
many men do you have a part of that group?
man, I've got about 7 or 8 guys I coach one on one, and we just launched ads, and so I'm getting a bunch of DMs and stuff right now. I've never really had ads and things out for it, and so it's just kind of um, individuals come into my world by referral or whatever it may be, and I take them on
Hmm.
that way. So
I
yeah,
saw one of your ads pop up. I liked it. It was good.
yeah,
I thought it
yeah.
really got in the. I thought it housed the message well. I
I
didn't quite
appreciate it.
realize that though with your dad and the history and the background on some of those aspects.
Yeah,
That's huge. That
yeah,
makes. I mean, that's you've. I feel like that's always what it is. Like God takes things that have made us like our own pains and so forth, and we're able to a lot of times find the healing through that of helping do the
yeah,
opposite for somebody else in those regards.
yeah. Yeah, no, 2014, I'd won all the awards from my franchise. I climbed this ladder of success, and I was like, man, this money, if I once I hit this money and I grow my business, and I had a number in my head, it was to grow it 43%, even though I'd already been in business for almost 8 years. And I put my head down and did what I said I was going to do, and climbed the ladder of success, won the awards from my franchise, was the top guy. And then I was like, got off the stage, and I had this glass award and this 2.5 pound, 5 pound dumbbell maybe that they wrote my number of my revenue on it. And I was like, damn, I almost killed myself to get these two stupid awards, and now I've got to do the same thing over again. And it was at that point that I had hired a couple of coaches, Luca Hosevar, Steve Krebs, and they had gone through something called Warrior Week. I'd started watching them, and they were already coaching me in the business side of things and fitness, and they were changed. They were guys that would go out and buy the bottles on the weekends in Las Vegas, and then fly back to their where they lived at, and they were big partiers and stuff like that. And they started talking about investing in every area of life, and it got my attention. And then I went to Key West with them, and November 2014, and we were meeting all the other fitness entrepreneurs in Miami that next week. And so we kind of went on our own vacation and stuff. And I just was watching them, and they're acting different, they're being different, they're talking different, and I'm like, okay, these guys are going in a different route. And so they offered for me and about 7 other guys that are fitness entrepreneurs to join them in San Diego, California. And I joined them for a 4-day event, and my eyes are just wide open to how much of a liar I was, and how much of a hypocrite I was to my coaching clients, but also to my son, telling him that athletes don't eat that way. And then right when he turned his head, I was shoving down exactly what I told him not to eat down my throat. And
Mm.
it was just icky. I just didn't like the way that I felt. And so I knew that something had to change. And I was sitting in the airport after those 4 days in San Diego, and I was texting my sister and my mom and my dad, or my mom and my family, and just showing gratitude and how much I appreciate them. And it was just crystal clear to me the things that I needed to change, and I was just super grateful for that time that I had in San Diego. And that's when my sister texted me and let me know that my mom was leaving my dad after 35 years. And for me, it was like God was talking to me and was like, you thought that business was the reason why you hired those coaches, and I had to wake you up. And it was the only way I could wake you up was through the business side of things. And then I noticed that I was going down the same direction that my dad was, being the one dimensional side of things. And so it was then that I was like, it was clear to me that I need to go down this path. I need to continue. And ever since then, I've just been relentless with just killing versions of myself off and becoming more and more of the man that God created me to be.
Hmm.
And I do that, like Austin was talking about, like we make life a game. Your mind's the happiest when you're seeing progress. Majority of men only know how to track progress from what the scale says, or what their bank account says. And the scale, as we know, can go up and down, and the bank account there's never going to be enough money in there. You're always going to look at it and go, damn, I thought there was going to be more. And so I needed more ways to see that I was winning and know that I was winning across the board. And so that's why I do what I do.
Absolutely. I can see the passion, and I can see just the way that you talk about it, that you mean what you're saying right now. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing that, especially, other people are going to get to hear this. And, even Austin, Austin and I work together, and Austin's my coach as well. And like, I always feel like we're chasing the next thing, instead of just being
Hmm.
appreciative of what we do have, and
Hmm.
that we do have our health, we do have the people around us. And it's not all about these materialistic things of the world. It's just about, the community that we have and the people we get to share it with. It means so much. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you sharing that stuff.
Yeah, no, I live what I lead, man. So I don't speak out of one side of my mouth and tell everybody that I've been that guy. And now I try to get away from those dudes as fast as possible. And that's one of the reasons why I hired Austin, was he speaks my language and he pushes. And that's why we're here today. It's like, it's been almost a year and 3 or 4
Yeah.
months now, or a year and a couple months now that we've been working
Seth is
together.
one of the only other people that has have his MAP, the polos that we have. I got Seth one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
I
I
I
love
I
that.
figured it was time. It was time. You
Yeah, no.
represent that very well. To me, the map, like the logo for me, it was a form of hope. Like to me, that's what I wanted it to represent. Whenever there were things that I didn't understand, and it was hard, you've lived it. You know exactly what that is, and going through different seasons of business and different seasons of relationships, and I mean everything. Like there's got to be something that always to wake us up and keep us moving. Which, like I said, with the way you gamify, I think is so amazing. I love how you put it there too. You gave other aspects to be thinking about. Like, so like break that down. What other, so outside of just, okay, we can look at financials, we can look at uh our career trajectories, like we can look at those things and look at the scale. Like, what are some ways you think would be really, if you could go back to, gosh, Seth, you can go back at 25. Like,
Mm.
what if you only pick three things? You're like, these are the three things I would have loved to focus on then that I think would have paid dividends later. How would you have
Um,
broken that down? What would you have done?
it was my relationship with God, would be one.
Hmm.
Um, my, my, what I see with a lot of guys is they'll set targets in their body, and then they'll set targets in their money. And those are their business. And those are really the only two other areas. And so for me, with my wife, who we just 19 years today, we've been married.
Man, congratulations.
And then my relationship with my son, which 25, I didn't have a son then, but my son. And then, uh, you know, the other side of it is the body side of it, to challenge myself, because yeah, that's just who I am. I'm gonna always push. Like Austin's kind of dialed that down a little bit. Like
Zone
sometimes
two,
I'm like,
baby.
yeah,
Welcome to zone two land.
sometimes I'm ready to like, yesterday I'm 95% recovery. I'm like ready to rock. And then I look at I'm like, damn, it's Monday. I don't even get to work out today. It's like a waste. So, um, yeah, so those are the areas that I would, and knowing what I know now, I would go across the board in all four of those the domains that we do. And like I said, your mind's the happiest when it's making progress, but
Hmm.
we have to be able to show it progress. And so like just having something that I get to with my guys, we get to the facts of where we currently are. We do something we call pivot protocol, and that's like in November, December area, where we go and we get to the facts. Like, this is where I'm currently at in my body. These are the things that I'm in bondage, that I need that are holding me back. And these are my freedoms. These are something that I'm excelling in. And so we go look at those areas, and we get to the facts about where we currently are, and then we cast a vision that is 10 times the results of what we have right now. So we look at it like, to most people it seems impossible, and that's what we call it, the impossible game. And so we go, here's the peak. This is the guy that I'm trying to chase and I'm trying to go after. And then what we do is like in every area we have four different targets that we're going after in our body, four different items that we're going after in our relationship with God and the man that we're being, but also our relationship with our wife and kids, and then in business. And so
Hmm.
we every month we have a focus, and every week we have a focus that's getting us closer to that month, and then that month gets us closer to the guy at the end of the road that we're trying to chase after. And then after that's over with, we go back down into the pit, and we go into the next level. The cool thing is like, yeah, you go back down to the pit, but the peaks always get higher. So you're always going
Yeah.
just a little bit more and a little bit more.
Yeah. It's like what they say, it's two steps forward, one step back. But guess what? If you do it that way,
Yeah.
you're still making progress up and up and up. It just feels like, hey, we all get knocked down.
Yeah.
It's very, very much think that as
Most
well.
most guys get to that peak, and then they get to this good place. And that good place is where it's like, man, the guy that has his back against the wall is in a much better place than the guy that's good, because the guy that's good has his hand on it, and he's not ever going to let go of it. Um, Going back down into pit means, hey, I got to let go of the results I have now to go up and grab the next results as far as that goes. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
like
love
that.
it.
That makes me think, even just with the training aspects and all the other things, like there's different identities that get taken on whenever it's different sports and different events and stuff like that. Which now, as I hear you saying that, I'm even thinking of that. Like you go down to the pit every time you take on a new
yep,
challenge in regards to physical aspects. Some of the stuff carries over, yeah, but I mean, if you've never ran a half marathon, you go run your first half marathon. That's a
it's
different
awful.
set of challenges. It's awful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great.
just
It
just
was
just be 150 pounds, Seth. Like drop to
uh
150, look emaciated, and run.
yeah, no, I was 150 pounds like eighth grade, so that's probably not gonna happen. But yeah, no, it gets funner. That's why I hire coaches. Like, I believe that if you're a coach and don't have coaches, then you don't believe in coaching, kind of a deal. And so I
Same
like
way.
to wake up. I like to know that else has eyes on what I need to be doing. They're going to be able to give me a different perspective, call me out, hold me accountable.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's important. And I have coaches in every area of my life. So I've had coaches in my relationship with God that can kind of guide me and point me in the right direction. Obviously, I've had business coaches, got multiple business coaches, and then in the body side of it as well. The only one I haven't really had a coach in is relationships, and that's just my wife is my coach there. She
My wife
I
is my
what
coach.
what I
We
what
can
I
all
what I
attest to
learned
that.
from that was when my wife triggers me and she says something that pisses me off, there's some truth there, and that's my guiding light to go like, okay, I need to step back and look at what she's saying, and then in the past it was judge her. I would judge her, and then I was judging her, it would be like a statement of like, she needs to do this, and then I would turn it around on myself and go, am I doing that? Okay, well, no, I'm
Hmm.
not doing that. Well, that's a direct reflection, judgment on myself that I need to get better at. And so,
Well
yeah,
said.
that's
A lot of
yeah,
wisdom in that. So I've been married since December, and I have figured that out pretty quick. It's,
yeah,
when I get, and it's like, when you get called out, you can come at it from an angle of, no, I'm right.
hmm
But no, like I just, and I've never really felt like I've been that way, but it's good to have somebody that will check you. It's good to have coaches. Like Austin's my coach. And I was actually just having a conversation with somebody the other day. They're like, well, you're a nutritionist. You can do all this stuff too. I'm like, I know, but I like to help people, but I also like just executing as a person. I like for somebody to be able to just put something in front of me and all I
yeah,
have to do is execute it.
yeah,
If I feel like I disagree or something, or like, Austin says it all the time. He's like, he's like, I'm not the one putting the plan together. He goes, you're the one who's doing it. I'm just taking what you say and putting it on paper. I'm like,
yeah,
whatever, Austin. You could be as humble as you want, but at the end of the day, that's why we invest in that stuff, is so we can just show up as our best self every day and execute. And that
yeah.
allows us to be able to do the same for other people, right?
Yeah, and hiring, and so like for me, it's I gain different mindsets and different skill sets on from every coach that I've hired. That like, oh, they know something that I don't know, and I'm like, okay, well, I can lean into that and understand a little bit better now that you put money down and they point you in that direction, and it just simplifies everything for me. It's like way I talk about it for my clients is I give you more capacity. And what that means is like I can
Mm.
take these things off of your plate. And by taking these things off your plate, I give you a larger plate so you can focus on the things that you love to do and let me handle the workouts, let me handle the nutrition and the programming and all that stuff, or let my staff do that. I don't do as much anymore. I've got a great staff that runs things, and I just kind of do the marketing, advertising, and hold them accountable that way to make sure that we're heading in the right direction kind of a deal. So
Yeah, you're just leading. You're leading
yeah,
people. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Austin, I know you were talking about a couple, like there was one question I know you were dying to ask before we hopped on the call that I've been waiting for you to ask.
You kind of already alluded to it, Seth. You said it was horrible, but I want to know, like, legitimately, me going from lifting to running. The
Mhm.
first when I did the half marathon the first year, I thought that was the hardest event I'd done, and people
Mhm.
like do that for fun, and I was like,
Yeah,
this is miserable.
yeah.
How was your experience going through your preparation for first half and the day of?
Um,
Like, what things stood out to you as you look back on it? I mean, you finished, you had a great time. Seth absolutely blew his time out of the water. We predicted as well. Go
yeah.
figure, because he competes.
Mhm.
But
Well,
Yeah.
when you said it was you told me to go for 2.5 hours, and I was like, not, that's like I'm going for 2 hours.
I'm going for two.
The
Yeah,
training side of it was I mean you laid it out, and like Gabriel said, it's just like show up um and just do what you said you were going to do, or do what's laid out for you. That's my core value number one. Just do what you said you're going to do. If you do that, then everything else becomes simplified. And so really, you had me prepped and ready to rock and roll on race day. And then, the difference between the race and just going and running 10 miles on the streets of Yukon is totally different, because there's individuals cheering you on. I lost my mom December 23rd from ALS. It was quick. She was in August. She was walking and doing everything. Nothing was wrong. And then by December 23rd, she was from the neck down, was paralyzed, and
Mm.
couldn't move. And so my mindset and the way that I attack things now is like just being transparent. Like, that stuff, it's hereditary, could be hereditary. I could in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that could be something I have. And when I lost my dad, I just saw the regret in his eyes when I told him there's nothing more the doctors could do. And he just kind of looked down, that has motivated me more than anything. And then now that I've experienced that with my mom, I'm like, I'm going all out. Like when I turn this machine in, it's going to be broken down. It's going to be beaten. It's going to look like it's been used, and like there's no more that you can get out of it. And that's the way that I attack things now. So, it's with the race day. It was just like, okay, well, there's a guy in front of me that doesn't look that athletic, that's
I'm gonna
running.
go
Yeah,
race
like
him.
I'm about to go knock that dude out, and I just was, and then you
Yeah.
chase the next one, chase the next one. I had a girl who I went to college with that was a cross country runner, and we're running, and she happened to be in the marathon. She's like, "Hey, Seth Humphrey, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then she kind of passed me for probably about 2 or 3 minutes, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna like
I gotta
I'm
catch it.
if I could beat her, then I'd be a cross country runner." And so that was my whole thinking, was just, hey, I got gospel music in. I had my mom on my mind, and then
People at the top.
the next person I was going to snipe out and go after, and that's the way I did it. And until I crossed that finish line, then it was like everything was my IT band and everything else was just like seized up. I was done. So
Yeah.
I
So,
thought it was it's really funny looking back, because Gabe, I'll put this in perspective.
okay.
Seth's runs leading into it, I really expected like probably like a 220 was like my thought that it would come in, just based on
Mhm.
his paces, and then he just came in and obliterated it. Like, I still don't quite understand that. I mean, you
Yeah.
held a 9:33, Seth. You came, I think you did a 2:05 at a
Hmm.
9:33.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
Man.
I
Gabe,
didn't look at
his
my
one
clock.
mile repeats were not 9:33.
No.
And he
Really?
came out and smoked that on the race. I'm like, where did this
Dang.
come from? That's why I was like,
Yeah.
that's the human spirit truly fully activated and alive in a race setting. That's what
Yeah.
that was. I was like, oh, this is wow.
Yeah, that and you'd put that time out, and so, like, with anything, it's like I'd already kind of, told my wife, I was like, I wanna get it in 2 hours," but I was like, you know, you might," and I started looking at the paces kinda like you said, and I was like,
Yeah.
215 215 might be the one," and so,
It just
you
kept
know,
going. Like, you
as
know
you're
how to
running,
compete.
yeah, as you're running, it's going like, you know, that first mile is like under 10 minutes. I was like, that's not bad. And then next thing you know, it just like it never said over 10 minutes. And so I'm like, we're making good time. And then, yeah, it worked out how it worked out. So yeah, no,
I was shocked by I'd never seen that happen. Like, ran his fastest
Yeah.
paces ever and did them all for 13 miles
You
on
yeah.
know,
game day. I was like,
there's
holy crap.
so many layers to what you just said. Do you and well, when was that?
Oh,
Pro
April
pacing,
26th.
April.
April
Yeah.
26th.
Yeah.
Have you continued running since then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
So we're keeping it in. We're doing a lot of biking and stuff to just help save my old bones and things. But other than that, yeah, no,
mhm.
still running.
Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing new when we talk about building an aerobic capacity actually helps all the other things in your life, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's a direct reflection. But also I mean, you're just dropping bombs again with talking about your mom too and really I feel like the way you explained the conversation with your dad there, like I felt like I was there, like the way you're
I was
explaining it
there. Yeah.
and it's so powerful. I feel like I'm a little
You know how to
emotional
use
just
it.
like thinking about it cuz
yeah,
I think it's a lot of times it's really hard to explain to people that it's not to look good. It's not to, oh, look at me kind of thing. It really is a direct or how we treat our body and what we put into what we put it through, all these things, a direct reflection of, how we perceive ourselves and how we give ourselves the best opportunity for the world. You just said I'm gonna have to turn in this machine one day, and it's gonna return to the soil, and I'll be gone. But and one day you're gonna have to turn it in, so you might as well just give it everything you got, and
yeah,
you don't just do that with your body, you do that with business, you do that with relationships, you do that with leadership, and I think that's what's super important and what we love to do and why we want to talk to people about is like if you don't know, just listen to that back to what Seth just said again, because that was really powerful. Is like that's the why
yeah,
is, you only get one time to do it, so you might as well go all in on it.
yeah.
Right.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. And that's what kind of Austin said. Your experience is kind of uh, they're either molding you and that's kind of with me. It's just like, hey, this is happening, and that's the way I look at it. It's like there's going to be like at our doorsteps, there's going to be problems and there's going to be issues and there's going to be struggles, and if you just look at the problems as like part of the game and that they are going to forge you and they're going to help you build skill sets and different mindsets and just instead of running from and putting your hands over your eyes and avoiding the problems, just step right into them and attack them. Then you're gonna be better than the majority because the majority are sedating and don't want to look
Yeah.
at their problems, don't want to look at their issues, don't want to look at their struggles, and instead of running towards them, they run away from them. And I'm just gonna always
Lean
get
into it.
excited. Like I get excited, like if I legit, if there's some type of if I said I was gonna do something and there's, that's with the marathon, it was I'm going to run this, and we weren't running in December. We started running in January after I
Yeah.
lost my mom, and so I just stepped into it and was like, okay, this is the direction I'm going to run a half marathon, which sounds stupid, like what from where I would have been over the years and what I've done, and I was anti running and things like that. And then to step into it, the first thing that starts to happen is like the IT bands, and then the knee starts to bother me, and so I work through all that stuff and did all the things I needed to do. So it's just like, if you know that like there's going to be a problem on the other side, then when the problem shows up, it's a lot more.
You're ready to deal with it.
Yeah, you're ready to go. So.
Yeah.
And that's something in my coaching we do. We weaponize ourselves before we start our day in every area. We've got, when I start my day, I right now it's doing 20 minutes of fasted cardio. I'll do that. I'll get in my devotional. I'll then go in and listen to the chapter just so I can get a better view on what it's talking about, and then I'll do a Bible stack over it, which is me finding something I'm convicted in from what I'm reading that I can either start, stop, or sustain. I'll shoot a couple of text messages to individuals to show some love and appreciation and make a deposit there. I will study something in business that might be a podcast. Right now, I'm listening to an Alex Hormozy book, and I'll listen to it and I'll discover what it's talking about, and I'll declare it, meaning I'll teach it to somebody else so I can learn it on a whole nother level. And then I'll do some meditation about midday to break up my day. And if I get that stuff done, then I know that I'm weaponized and armored up. And then anything that comes at me, I'm ready to rock and roll and ready to attack it. I don't have to get ready, kind of deal. And that's just the way it's the way I am. It's the way I, coached my son up. Is he was a college football player, went to Houston and different things. And in middle school, I remember him getting in the vehicle, and he was like, "Dad, like everybody else was like throwing up and having issues and having problems." And he's like, I was in best shape. And I was like, yeah, that's why we stay ready. So we don't have to get ready. So
You've always been doing it.
we've always been doing it. So, yeah.
I love it. It's amazing, man. I think people are going to receive this information really, really well. Like I'm fired up. Like it gets my mind thinking like, where can I be better? I just got done with High Rocks, New York City, and gosh, dang it, mental lapse in it. And I've just been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all day, Austin, by the way, all day.
It would have been I guess 4-minute PR technically without the missed lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
goodness.
my head coach Christian was he made it into the Spartan, like he made it to the Worlds. Like he went out to Florida, and like the dude was
Christian
ready.
can move.
Yeah, he was in the first. He was first, and he was rocking, and he missed the one. He went to the wrong obstacle, and so they kicked him. They basically disqualified. They knocked off some minutes off of it, and he was naturally started to complain and started to have some like this. Well, the judge should have, and this and that. And I was like, hey, bro, like right when your ability to respond, and I was like, it's responsibility. So you got to look at this and go like, you've practiced every one of those stages. You know what comes next. I knew what comes next because me and him took partners, and we took first in an event. So I even knew the stuff, and I was like, when you cast that response, when you cast those off to someone else and blame somebody else, you're losing all power over that situation. So that's why I told him, I'm like, man, like the responsibility is just the ability to respond, to go like, hey, you know what? I messed up here, and I'm going to get better at that and learn from it and go from there. So
He's going to compete again this next year. Yeah.
oh yeah, the dude's a freak, man. Like he's and
I see him posting up Garmin's and stuff in there. He flies.
the bros,
He's fast, Gabe.
Tell me how fast. I need to know.
I've seen plenty of. Go ahead, Gabe, or go ahead, Seth.
I mean, I think he's going right now for. I think he's trying to run a 5K right now in like 17 minutes or something. That's what he's going for.
The dude's 6, 7, and 8s on different runs.
Physically, strength training and things like that. The dude's like, I mean, he's just as solid there. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, he makes a good teammate, and I'm almost 17 years older than him as far as that stuff goes. But no, dude's ridiculous. So
he puts it. He goes. Chris has got a motor.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
100%. I need to get over there and train with him next time.
You guys would have y'all would have a really good time together, Gabe.
Yeah. Where are you at?
Gabe? I'm in New York City.
Okay.
He was in Tulsa. They moved up to New York a few months ago now.
January.
Yeah, 5. What are we in?
6
June?
months. Yeah.
Dang, that's half a year.
I know, dude. I know. I just told Lauren that this morning because it's June 1st, right?
Yeah.
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 Or
Check
June
second.
2nd. I told her yesterday, I'm like, can you believe we've been here for 6 months? Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
wild. I know. Pretty wild. But um as we're kind of wrapping up, Austin, do you have any other things that you wanted to talk about?
Those are my bigs. I wanted to touch on just different aspects of both. And yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Seth, I mean, are you gonna like, are you ever gonna go back? Do you ever want to be 240 plus pounds, giant ball of
No,
muscle again? Or are you okay with
no.
this
Yeah,
lifestyle?
no, no, my main, I'm trying this month to like to get below 200. And, if I'm going to tap into this running side of it and things like that, it's just going to make it 1,000 times. I'm like 212, 210 right now when I wake up in
Yeah.
the morning. So there's not anything crazy as far as that. One thing I will explain kind of like when you talk about, like, uh, building in your relationship with God and things like that. Like, for example, if I can point you and kind of so the listeners get a better view of what that actually looks like. So, a couple of years ago, I'd set out and said, "Hey, at the end of the year, my peak and the impossible would be me running an online Bible study." Well, that was like out of this, like that's going to be impossible to do. Why? One, because I'd never been to a Bible study before.
Mm-hmm.
So in early 2024, there had a Bible study at my church. It was on every Tuesday night for the month of February, I think. And so I attended each and one of those. That was my reasonable target. So, hey, make every one of these Bible studies. That was reasonable. Radical, which is the middle of the peak, like we're climbing up to the peak, was like I didn't know how to make the next step. I didn't know what that was going to look like because the peak was the online Bible study. And so I have a coach that works for me that was from California, and he came to me, and his dad actually was running the Bible study at the church. And so the guy, he was 21 at the time, and just his super, like, as far as theology and stuff, his dad, he's learned a lot. And he came to me and said, "Hey, I would like to run a Bible study inside of the Vitality Mill every other Saturday, but
Mm.
we would do a workout afterwards." And so my point in that is like God opened that door where I didn't know the next steps. All I started with was I cast a vision of saying I want to do it online. I started by saying, "Hey, I'm just going to start with behaviors and patterns. I'm going to start at going into a Bible study and just learning and being a student." Isaac comes to me and opens that door of, "Hey, I want to do this." That checked off the radical. And then by the end of the year, I was able to then start the online Bible experience. And so that's how it works. Is like we have something that we cast a vision here, we got the facts here, and then we look at and go, okay, for me to become that guy that's at the peak, what are some behaviors and patterns that I have to start to adopt to start revealing that guy? Okay, well, I'm going to start that. Same thing with the running. I'm going to do a high rocks at the end of the year, and I want to compete with the guys that are 40 plus and put up good time. Okay, well, we know running is a big piece of that. So my radical was finish a half marathon, and then the patterns of behaviors was what Austin filled in for me of the, hey, just do this, do this, do this. Those
Mm-hmm.
starts the patterns of behaviors. Then I'm able to do the half marathon. And then at the end of the year, like the Dallas High Rocks is the plan. And then
Let's go.
to go in there and compete on another level that way. So that's how we do that. But we do it across the board in every one of those areas.
So
So
it's I saw something pop up today, and if I can't find it quickly, I won't try to find it. But basically, it was something to the effect of you just have to have this like unbelievable idea, or you see yourself doing something, and for you, it was the peak, right? You call it a peak.
mhm. Yep.
First, you got to have the thought that you can actually have that peak. You got to see
Absolutely
yourself
right.
in that peak, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, the problems that need to be solved are they start coming to you because you're like, I see myself there. It's right
Yeah.
here. It says statistically, the most powerful thing you can do is let yourself be wildly delusional about a future that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So it's what you visualize first, the dream or obstacles influences your success rate. the order matters. So
Love
I
that.
love, I feel like, dude, I just saw that today.
That
So
is that.
the fact that you're saying that
I
right
told you
now,
we need to talk to Seth.
I
I told
know.
you.
I know.
Well,
Told you.
I've been praying about something similar too. That's crazy. This is
then
crazy.
you go to Jeremiah 33:3, and this is what we meditate on whenever we're creating our targets is ask me and I will tell you remarkable secrets you do not know about things to come. So we just like
Mm,
we'll pray that over our like we'll pray that over our impossible games and like and have that view of that perspective of that as like if you pull God into the mix, like what's nobody knows what's possible with
That's
he
good.
knows what's possible. We don't know what's possible, so it's almost disrespectful to not go all in and do what you that's the things that fire me up more than anything with dudes, especially Christian dudes, is like they have the faith, they pray, they get in the Bible, they check the boxes and stuff. But like on the other side of that, there's action needs to be taken.
yeah.
And that's what majority are like, they get in the Bible and they go like, oh, I did that. And they feel good for a little bit. But like for me, it's like when I get in the Bible, I look at and go, what do I feel convicted of right now? And from what I feel convicted of, what is it that I need to either start, stop, or sustain? And that's a daily action that I go into and that I look at. And so that's today was Isaiah was like what is it, send me, and I'm like I go back to that 2015 sitting in that airport, and it was like it's not been easy, but I go back and I was like God was point me in that direction, say I need you to go all in and be that four-dimensional guy and lead others. And over the last 11 years, that's just what I've been after. And like I said, it's not been lavish like you see all these coaches that are making all this money and things like that. It's been difficult because a lot of people like they don't necessarily they like what it sounds like to have it all, but they don't think it's possible. And so
Mhm.
when you start to change your identity and the way that you view things, and you change the stories and the beliefs, your actions, then you get different results. And that's how you change your identity. And that's what we do is just we reverse engineer it by going, hey, let's change the actions. And by us changing our actions, then we start to change our beliefs and our stories. And then by changing our beliefs and our stories, we've now uh, changed our identity in the way that we view things and stuff. But
Yeah.
your actions come from your beliefs and your stories. And so a lot of people are just trapped in a box that they've trapped themselves in. Like could have been with me with the running. I could have said, well, I'm not a runner, and never tapped into this run and a half marathon. And so like I never would have known on the other side. I did that back in there was a CrossFit event I did in 2015, 16, 2015. And I walked in, I went to a CrossFit. I told them, hey, I'm going to win this CrossFit event. And they're like, you probably just want to start doing CrossFit first before you just win the event. And I said, you don't know who I
You
am.
don't
You don't
know.
know
I
me.
have to.
You don't know you don't know what you just, the fire you just lit underneath me. And so I, it was a 90-day target. I was about a month and a half into that target. I remember doing step ups on a Sunday and thinking, damn, it'd be really crazy right now if I came down and like my Achilles tore or something happened. Right. And so I remember it was Super Bowl Sunday. It was the Denver Broncos versus the Carolina Panthers. And me and my son were going to, play a basketball, or going to have a one-on-one basketball game. And it was going to be a kind of our Super Bowl kind of a deal. And he's getting at that age where he was just being able to be competitive and stuff. And I remember blocking one of his shots because he's not going to beat me. Like, so I'm like, I'm going to, and so like I block one of his shots and I come down and for the first time, this is the first time I ever did it. I came down and my ankle, I knew it right then that I rolled it. And it was just like that first time you do it, it takes forever to get healed or whatever. And so I went into that CrossFit event where with like push press, for example, your heel goes all the way to the ground. You push through. My heel couldn't go all the way to the ground. Like it was just not happening. So
One leg.
I made it to the finals, and then I get to the finals, and it was the first thing they wanted you to do is box jumps, and hadn't even jumped on this ankle and things, and so I went in, and I got third place in the finals, and so I wasn't a CrossFitter, so I didn't know how it worked. Well, I'm pissed off and I'm ready to leave because I was winning it heading into the finals. And then I'm like, well, I got third. So I did all this to get third place. And I was pissed off about it. And everybody was like, no, man, in CrossFit, they have the final event. And then the final event, with all the scores they accumulate. And then you go, and I'm like, oh, okay. And
Oh,
so I won first place of that. I left there though. And I thought, like, what if I never would have tried to do the cross? What if I could have tapped out and said, and everybody would have been okay with it. I could have tapped out and like, man, I rolled my ankle bad. And so I can't go and do this CrossFit event. And just checked out. But the other side of it was in Tulsa on the whole ride back. It was just like, man, I can't believe I just did that. And that opened up, and that event changed my whole life because where else was I playing small? Where else could I
do
take
more.
things to another level and stuff? And so that's kind of that was no, that was it for me. I was like, oh well, if I'm playing small here, then I could have. And I just
Yeah.
think about it. I always think about that. What if I would have never competed and I would just checked out and said like, no, I can't do it because of this, and I never would have been able to see the fruit of that on the other side of it. So
Yeah. Would you
I
have
love
done
that.
everything you've done now if you didn't do that to start?
exactly, exactly.
Man,
Momentum.
dang. That's so good, man. That's so good. Well, I really, really appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
I think I need Austin. I need more Seth in my life, so we need to figure out what that looks like. I think
That's
you're,
like,
you're
come
the
on, man.
coach, but
Bring it on.
yeah. Well, Seth, Austin, do you have anything else before we wrap it up?
I just appreciate you taking time with us today, Seth. That was perfect.
Absolutely.
I was hoping to get in some of those, and that was spot on. I appreciate
Yeah,
Yeah,
you.
no. Yeah, I
Seth.
appreciate you, man.
Seth, do you want to drop anything on here? Instagram, any
Yeah,
socials, anything like that?
yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, just Seth .p.humphrey. And yeah, no, I'm on Instagram and Facebook on Seth.p.humphrey. So
Awesome.
He does
Cool.
he does TikTok dances too. If you want to go to his TikTok,
not a
Sweet.
TikToker.
don't put that on me.
Yeah.
No, well, we really
Awesome
appreciate
guys.
you. Thank you
I
so much,
appreciate you.
Seth.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
All right.